Okay, polishing's just finished. This video is going to be quite a bit more extensive than the previous one where we talked about decon because I used a lot more stuff. And this was a pretty sophisticated correction where I needed to do 3 steps. It took a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of trial, a lot of error, and to get it to the standard that I have it now. So what I'm going to do, if you stick around, I'll walk around and show you some of the areas that I didn't capture in the previous videos if you're interested. But the purpose of this specific episode was to show you all the stuff I used so you'll know if you wanted to replicate it, if you had a C7Z06 or if you're a Corvette of some sort, or if you had some similar car, just to get an idea of or sense for what we used. So I use, I got all the polishers over there on the polisher rack, but I use LHR 15, the LHR 75 pneumatic, and the 2 nanos. And the reason I had 2 nanos out, it really didn't matter so much short neck or long neck. It was so that I could be lazy and have a 2-inch and a 1-inch pad. This darn Corvette and all the angles are pretty insane, so it required the use of a lot of nano, a lot of 3-inch. In fact, I probably did about 75% of the car with a 3-inch, just because of the way the curves and contours and everything worked. So I used those 4 machines exclusively on this, so theoretically you could get away with these 3 and just change the backing plate on it, quick change it whenever you needed to. Both of these I used in dual action mode. You can see the purple, or I guess it's maroon or reddish maroon. So I used the 12mm orbit on these. I didn't use a foam cannon. I don't know why that's there. We were testing. So then polishes. So when I was doing my test spot, I tried doing various options, various trials. So I used a blue pad, I used microfiber pads, I used large pads, small pads. I tried wool, and the combination that ended up working. I also tried some yellow pads as well, and we tried to do a single step that didn't do squat. So it ended up being 3 steps. So what we did is corrected with microfiber cutting. So there's our sizes that we used. So 5-inch, 3-inch, 2-inch, and 1-inch. We used that and Sonex Cut Max. I tried ACA 5000. I tried Gtechniq correction compound and found that the Sonex Cut Max worked the best. On this car, I probably used a quarter of a bottle, maybe a little less than a quarter of a 1-liter bottle. So I wouldn't push it and get a small. I'd get the 1 liter. I wouldn't get the 250 ml. I think I'm going to put this in the store. This really did well. It's very watery, very thin, but performs really, really well. Again, make sure you shake up Sonex polishes often. It cut much better, even though I would probably classify this as more aggressive, the ACA 500 from 3D. For whatever reason, this paint responded best with microfiber cutting. These are both Meguiar's and Lake Country, so it responded better. And then we'll talk about quantities here in a minute. Then we did a secondary step. I did very little nano on this, mostly 3-inch on the whole car, and we did Gtechniq correction compound. So these are the Rupes medium wool pads. These we used with Gtechniq to clean up all of the tick marks that I was getting with the microfiber cutting. But I couldn't get, so your logical question would be, why didn't you just use wool from the beginning, the cutting wool pad? I couldn't get, it just didn't cut as well as it did with microfiber on this particular paint. Again, it just depends on the paint. I probably could have made some adjustments, maybe spraying some water or something to increase the cut capability of Cut Max, or maybe gone to something like M101, something even solvent-based that was more aggressive. But I found in just kind of working through different options that this tended to work best. I did, again, I only used one 1-inch pad, so most of it I just followed with the 3-inch. I didn't get into the intricate detail spots because Cut Max does finish down pretty well, and I found that most of the real heavy detail, the real tight spots were flatter anyway, and I wasn't getting as much tick marks. The tick marks were coming mainly from the curves of the various panels of the car. And then I did finishing, I didn't use a single 1-inch pad. just this combination, 5-inch and 3-inch on the whole car. So let's count how many pads I used in total. So microfiber cutting, I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 microfiber cutting 5-inch pads. Oh, this is where it gets thick. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 3-inch pads. So part of it was I'm taking multiple days, so you could probably take 2 of these away. So on this car, I mean, you'd want 10 pads or else you're gonna have to wash them out. I don't wanna do that. I wanna work through the process without having to revisit and try to wash out. Then I used 2-inch, I used 3 2-inch pads. So I obviously didn't do as much 2-inch stuff. And then I used 2, 4, 6, 8 1-inch pads. These tend to get gummed up sooner. They tend to get overfilled with polish sooner, so I find that it's better to swap them out. So I used 8 of those on this process. Then wool, which is our second step. Again, in my testing, 13 3-inch pads. I used 1 wool to try that out. So to try that out. So I used 1 3-inch wool. I used 2 3-inch yellows and 1 5-inch yellow, testing out different versions. So I did use some of those. I did use 1 rayon pad on the glass. So in fairness of this system, but on the whole car, the whole finishing, I used 3 of the white pads with Sonex Perfect Finish. I guess I skipped a step there. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 3-inch. Again, no 1-inch. And then in wool, I used 1, 2, 3, 4 wool pads, 5-inch, and I used 4 3-inch and then a single 1-inch, just to give you an idea. So you can see how much more effort and energy we put into doing the correction step, swapping pads more often, working the polish longer, probably using more polish, blowing them out more often, and then we use progressively less. I found that I was loading up the pad a little quicker, a little sooner on the 3-inch stuff. The way that I'll clean these is I'll take them home, I'll get in the sink, and I find that soaking them doesn't really help very much, soaking them ahead of time. I just wash them, and what I'll do a swirly cue of a little spiral of Dawn, kind of work it in, set it aside. I'll do that to say 4 or 5 pads. I also dilute a bottle of Micro Restore, so I take 50-50. It's probably like 40-60, 40% Micro Restore, 60% water, put it in a spray bottle. And so I'll rinse out the polish and the Dawn. I'll follow with Micro Restore, which tends to whiten it up and then clean the residue off that you get from the Dawn. So that's how I'll do it. I won't throw any of these away. None of them seem to have failed or cracked or an issue there. So these will all be ready to use again. And that's, this is hundreds of dollars of pads, so you wouldn't want to just throw them away. But to do this car, to do it as efficiently as possible, those are the pads that we use. So again, with the wool, we use Jescar correcting compound. Again, I probably used maybe a 1/6 of a bottle of a liter. So I didn't use as much of this product as I did of Cut Max, and then same thing, probably a 1/6 or maybe an 1/8 of a bottle of Perfect Finish. So those are the 3 polishes that we use to accomplish this 3-step process. I think this is probably the first 3-step process I've ever done in my life on a car of mine. So normally 2 steps is just fine. I think we did a 3rd step on that Cobra that I did before, but generally, not necessary. So those are the polishing products that we used. I also used quite a bit of Tarex on like a shop towel or old microfiber towel to clean up a lot of the residue and the jams. I used probably, I would say, 1/4 of a bottle, so 250 milliliters of CarPro Eraser. I also used a little bit of panel wipe. We're going to use more panel wipe and more eraser here in the next step, so we'll fit that into the coating section. And I did use a little bit of number 39 to kind of clean up the jam area around the top when I took that off. And I did hit a bit of the plastic as well, so I did have that here. I used this through the whole project, a single Rupes claw tool. This is, I think, a must for the process. I did use a little bit of 91% alcohol to prep to put the badges back on. So I put the black badges on during this process. I also used Kamikaze's door props. So I used this on the side doors. I used this on the trunk. I didn't use anything on the hood. I just left the hood closed, but I did use these two products. And then I used the, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna call these guys here. I'm gonna get the Tornador for blowing out pads. I also use this tool to blow out some of the, this Prevost tool which I have in the store. Be careful with the metal tip around the paint, but I use this to blow out some of the jam areas and blow out around the rear deck lip, the lip back there. I used that. Let's see. I did use 2 of the Meguiar's self-cleaning bottles that really don't self-clean all that well. So I used these just because I had an extra bottle in the front and the rear of the car. Let's talk about lighting. So lighting, I used the mini match, or the what is this one called? The multi-match R. So I used this. I used the Phoenix light. I didn't use the headlamp on this project. So I use this a lot on like the black areas, like the carbon fiber areas. So this is the Obsessed Garage version of the PD35 Tactical. Single battery was fine. I used the the pen match R. So this is the R version, the one with the 2 different colors. And I used this probably the most, which is the Sun Match 3. So Sun Match 3 came in really handy. I mainly used this more than this and this because the size of this is a little bigger. So I needed it really bright. I would use this and hand hold it. So I never got my tripods out or anything like that. So I would hand hold this on the hood specifically when I needed it to be a little brighter. But the pen match, the R, the color match pen R, this one only goes down to 3,000 Kelvin, and I found that 2,700 Kelvin was better for, and I only use this light, not the overhead light, on this device, on the Sun Match. So towels are one of the hardest things, or one of the things I used many more towels than I normally do. So normally in my cabinet, you can see the empty spot. Normally I would have 20, I have 20 yellow towels. So I have 20 yellow that I would use. And I blew through all of those on this because of the 3 different steps. And so this is where I keep my towels like this, so dirty towels. So I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, plus I used a couple of these to clean up some of the jams. So I used 28 towels plus these 2 extra beaters. So I used probably 3 beater towels and 28 polish removal towels for this project. But normally I would get by with 15, maybe 15, 16, 17, 18 towels when I'm doing a polishing, whatever, I don't want to call it job, but I guess it is a polishing job. And so normally I would use about 15 of them. I used 28 on this car because I found that I needed to switch towels often and doing so many different steps. So let's walk around the car, kind of show you. Obviously it looks fantastic. Talk about some of the problem areas. This would be more for you guys that have a Corvette, things that you may encounter. First thing I found was the paint was extremely hard and extremely difficult to correct. So the various little tiny scratches and things like that just weren't coming out unless I got really aggressive, made lots of passes. So we made 5 passes with Sonex Cut Max with as much pressure as I could get, and I had to stay small on a lot of the pads to get a lot of these. And you can see all these transitions, all these curves, all these areas, which makes the car look kind of cool and aggressive, but also makes it much more difficult to polish. So I found that each one of these various panels, they all corrected pretty much the same. Sometimes when you have different substrates like carbon fiber versus aluminum versus plastic, sometimes you get some change, but I found even the roof corrected the same as the rest of the car. So I did Gtechniq on the whole thing. But we used 1 inch here, I used 1 inch in these deep valleys, 3 inch on most of this, 5 inch here. On the aftermarket stuff, I did only Jescar and only Perfect Finish, so I didn't do the Gtechniq. Same thing with the front lip, so all the aftermarket carbon fiber I was able to correct in 2 steps. Things like down here in the door jambs and the door panels, having to get in there with the 1 inch and the 3 inch, and you look at these aggressive transitions. This is where I would end up with a lot of ticking and marring. I needed the microfiber in order to cut through the scratches, but then I needed to follow with Jescar and the medium wool pads in order to fix that. I ended up I polished the glass. I like the polished glass that doesn't need any really heavy defect or heavy water spotting issues with just regular polish and a regular microfiber cutting pad. Because if you get out like Siri glass and a rayon pad, it's just really nasty and hard to clean up and hard to get off of other surfaces. We cleaned out the door jambs. It's much less about correction to me and more just a deep cleaning. So at the end of my pad cycle, when I'd finished like the panel or two, I'd use the pad to come clean up the door jamb. So I did all the jambs, cleaned out all of this with number 39. Did some what you would classify as detailing. I'm going to be doing a little bit more cleanup of the windows here as we put the window glass treatment on. I polished up under here with the 1 inch and the fender wells taped off, this area here, so I wouldn't end up getting any polish on it. I did leave all of the reflectors on and just polished over them. This took quite a bit of work. I took the wicker bill off and polished the plastic as much as I could to try to clean that up. I ended up putting the black badges on at the end. I didn't polish this area here because we're going to be replacing that with the carbon fiber one here shortly. But again, all of these contours, you have to work your polisher, and this is where you'd get all kinds of micro marring, and then you'd have to fix it, coming back secondly. Some of this stuff here, like the lights, I had to polish by hand. I purposely haven't gotten the lights out because there's still going to be some defects deep in here, but I have been able to clean a lot of the oxidation up and make the lights look as new as possible, polishing a lot of the stuff, by hand with a microfiber towel and just some Gtechniq. Same thing here with like door handles, getting in here with the 1 inch as much as I can and then getting the rest with the machine. Luckily the mirrors articulate in both ways, so polishing these up with the two-step process. So mirrors and this, neither one of them needed to be hit with Gtechniq. I simply polished this. Same thing with this top black shadow line here. I polished that with Jescar and the wool pad. And then if you get a light out and try to micromanage these, I find that it's just not worth it. You'll always see a little bit of leftover. But I polished these with Jescar and the wool, and followed with Sonex Perfect Finish and finishing pad. I also hit this pseudo shiny trim with Jescar at the end. Same thing with all of this. I'm sorry, not Jescar, Sonex Perfect Finish, just to clean it up. The windshield is about to be replaced, so I haven't touched that, and we'll be cleaning up the cowl when the Safe Light people have to take that out. So that's the process. Obviously stay away from the headlights. You so desperately want to just polish them, but don't do that, because then the clear coat will fail and you'll end up with it looking terrible really quickly. So that's the process. That's the polishing stuff. So we probably have, I don't know, a couple $1,000s worth of stuff to do this. So it kind of puts into perspective when you hire someone to polish your car. I don't know how many hours. I'm probably 20-ish hours into polishing, something like that. I'm not a very quick polisher. I don't need to be, because this is my car in my garage. I can kind of come and go as I please. But Kyle did help on the one door, but I polished the whole thing myself. You know, I certainly don't envy you guys that polish all day, every day. It's a big task, it's a big job. And you know, for me, I really enjoy the result. So all the work in the middle of it, I hate it. But now I'm super pumped that the thing's done. So the next video will be working through the coating process, prep work for the coating, and then installation of the coating in various steps. I'll do the same thing. Well, I'll save, you know, how many of the suede applicator pads and things like that I use, how much of the bottle of the products I use, and let you know kind of what this car required. Talk to you about what areas we did and what areas we didn't. So anyway, thanks for watching this episode. Next one will be coating. The waiting to put the new parts on is the fun part. I should have done it on camera. I wanted to do it on camera with the new emblems, but I got too hasty, got too excited. So I bought all new carbon 65 and this kind of gunmetal finish for the door sills. This car had old man PPF on the door sills. You know, the old man trying to squeak his way out of this car, kind of crawling out. It was all jacked up. So he had it PPF after the fact, but they were all jacked up. So now, got new fresh ones, and I'm a grown-up, so I'll step over this. I'm not a baby. I'll step over this when it comes time to get in and out of the car. I want to coat over it though. That's why I'm putting them in. Next week we'll be putting the new steering wheel and all of that on. Yeah, that looks pretty sharp. What do you think? Figures. It's already got bubbles in it. Little bubble spot. Nicely done. Okay, this video will probably be quite a bit more
Messing your words up?
Nah, that tape. People are going to be yelling at me. All right, so bear with me over the next couple of weeks until we get, or I guess a month, till we get the garage or the stuff over there. Start over. Take two.
Why are you doing this to a car you don't even like?
Maybe I'll like it if it has nice door sills.
Carbon 65, bro.